door's knocking, you'd better have the right tools. This winter, evil meets its match. The Toolkit.
Have you ever wondered what's truly inside an exorcist toolkit? It's not just a crucifix and holy water. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the surprisingly diverse and historically rich collection of items. The blessed salt, the consecrated oils, and even fragments of saints that play a crucial role in combating demonic oppression in current American exorcisms. Welcome back to the Conjuring Files, where we strip away the Hollywood special effects to reveal the terrifying reality of spiritual warfare. Forget what you've seen in the movies. In real life, heads don't spin 360 degrees, and there is rarely green pea soup involved. Real exorcisms in the United States today are far more clinical and liturgical than the screaming matches you see on the silver screen. They don't happen in stormy, abandoned towers. They happen in quiet church offices, private homes, and sometimes even hospitals. You might think this is an ancient practice left in the Middle Ages, but in 2025, the Catholic Church is actually fielding more requests for these interventions than ever before. However, the Church's stance is one of extreme caution. They recognize that while mental illness explains 99% of cases, there remains a dark 1% that defies medical science. This isn't a job for just any priest with a Bible. You can't just buy a kit online and start fighting demons. An official exorcist is a specialist, handpicked by a bishop and rigorously trained. They are often armed with psychology degrees as well as theology degrees, because the most important tool in their arsenal isn't faith, it's skepticism.
So what exactly is in the bag? We aren't talking about magic items or good luck charms. In the eyes of the Church, these are sacramentals. They don't hold power like a battery holds electricity. Instead, they act as conduits for the Church's collective prayer and authority. But the heavy artillery in an exorcist's arsenal comes in the form of relics. This is where the toolkit gets truly intense. Relics are strictly categorized by a hierarchy of holiness. First-class relics are the most potent. These are actual physical fragments of a saint's body, such as bone, hair, or blood. Exorcists believe that demonic entities have a violent, visceral reaction to these items because they cannot stand the physical presence of such purity. Second-class relics are items the saint owned or used, like clothing or a Bible. Third-class relics are objects that have simply touched a first-class relic. But an exorcist needs more than just a crucifix. Their kit often includes specific, lesser-known tools like the purple stole, which represents the priest's judicial authority over the spirit, or the medal of Saint Benedict, historically known as the devil-chasing medal. These aren't just props. To the exorcist, they are the shield and the sword.
Beyond the bones of saints, the exorcist relies on the elemental trinity, oil, water, and salt. These aren't just symbolic gestures. In the heat of the ritual, they serve distinct tactical purposes. First, there is the holy oil. Historically used for healing, in an exorcism, it is often applied to the senses, the eyes, ears, and mouth, to seal the body. This is done to prevent the entity from using the victim's own senses to perceive or mock the outside world, effectively blinding the demon inside the vessel. Then, there is holy water, but specifically water that has been exorcised with salt according to the old Roman ritual. Reports from exorcists claim that when this water touches a possessed individual, they often recoil as if burned by acid, reacting violently to the purity it recalls from baptism. Finally, we have blessed salt. This is the unsung hero of the toolkit. It isn't just for flavor. It is often sprinkled around the perimeter of the room or across thresholds to create a spiritual boundary. Think of it as a scorching line of defense that sterilizes the atmosphere, making the room spiritually uninhabitable for evil and preventing the entity from hiding in the corners once the prayers begin.
While salt and oil prepare the battlefield, the crucifix is the weapon that defines the fight. It remains the most potent tool in the kit because, in Christian theology, it represents the exact moment the devil was defeated. Exorcists describe it not as a defensive shield, but as an offensive declaration of authority. When held up against a manifesting entity, it serves as a visual reminder of their failure. The reaction is often described as terror, an inability to look at the object or desperate attempts to knock it away. But the protection goes deeper than what is held in the hand. Many exorcists place miraculous medals or the brown scapular on the afflicted person. Think of these as spiritual body armor. The scapular, draped over the shoulders, acts as a continuous prayer, a habit of protection that claims the person for heaven even when their mind is clouded by the demonic. And then there is the nuclear option, first-class relics. In the most difficult cases, an exorcist might take a reliquary, a small container holding a fragment of bone from a saint like Saint Padre Pio or Saint Gemma Galgani, and press it gently against the body of the possessed. The documentation on this is chilling. There are countless reports of unconscious or restrained victims who have no way of knowing what the object is, screaming in agony or recoiling from the heat of the relic as if a hot iron had been placed against their skin. It is the physical manifestation of the battle between extreme holiness and extreme evil.
These items aren't just thrown at the entity all at once. An exorcism is a calculated siege. It follows a strict progression known as the Roman ritual. It doesn't start with shouting. It starts with the litany of saints, a monotonous, rhythmic summoning of heavenly backup. The priest uses the relics strategically, introducing them like heavy artillery only when the entity begins to manifest. When the growls or the violence start, that is when the stole is laid upon the victim's neck to weigh them down with authority, and the relic is pressed against the forehead. This physical action is amplified by specific verbal commands. The prayers shift from the deprecative, asking God for help, to the imperative, directly commanding the demon to leave. Exorcizo te omnis spiritus amand. The relic acts as the physical anchor for these words, burning the command into the reality of the room. But perhaps the most important truth about this toolkit is that the battle rarely ends when the priest leaves the room. The fight against oppression is a marathon, not a sprint. Victims are often sent home with blessed salt to line their windowsills and medals to wear constantly. These objects serve as ongoing spiritual antibiotics, maintaining the hygiene of the soul long after the ritual is over. So, the next time you see a movie priest brandishing a cross, remember, the real toolkit is far more complex, ancient, and terrifyingly precise. It is a collection of weapons honed over 2,000 years of warfare in the shadows. If this look inside the Exorcist's bag fascinated you, hit that like button and let us know in the comments. Do you believe physical objects can hold spiritual power? Make sure to subscribe to the Conjuring Files and turn on notifications so you never miss a case. We have many more secrets to unlock. Until next time, stay safe and keep your faith close.